Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys, brought to you by the National Hockey Now Network. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by National Hockey Now. Tuesday, March 7th, Ian Cameron with you. Alex B. Smith will be along shortly as well. Ready for a Tuesday card, 10 games on tap. And of course, Tuesday, meaning we've got the Daily Show. And you know what we have tonight? We have another Ice Guys live betcast coming your way. These have been a lot of fun. It's really just, throwing back some pints, throwing back some beers, some drinks, watching the games unfold, live betting, trying to make some money. And we've got a recurring pattern happening lately with our betcast where we've started off slowly in terms of our live bets. We've had some rough starts as far as the live wagers that we've placed in these betcasts, but we've had strong finishes to some of them. So let's hopefully we get off to a better start tonight and maybe combine the two. Let's have a strong start and a strong finish. But one thing's for sure, win or lose, the betcast is always fun, entertaining, enjoyable to be hanging out with our viewers and listeners, watching the games unfold. So join us tonight, live betcast, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And again, live betting and commentary, of course, with the crew, myself, Alex B. Smith. We've got, of course, our viewers and listeners. Drinking always encouraged as well. So DM at Bobano on Twitter or email bobano350@gmail.com. And we will send you the link to the betcast if you wish to join us on the betcast tonight. We're going to skip a recap. I don't want to recap yesterday. It was probably one of the worst days I've had since the beginning of the calendar year 2023 in the NHL last night. The Ottawa-Chicago game really hurt for various reasons. I mean, when you have Ottawa first period puck line, Ottawa team total over, the full game over, and they get shut out, and a bunch of Ottawa props for that matter, and they get shut out, that game's not going to go well for you. And that's exactly what happened. Now, before we start saying what the hell happened to Ottawa, what's wrong with them, look, it was a bad game. And to be honest with you, their coaching staff deserves some blame for the situation they put Mads Søgaard in. I mean, DJ Smith in the last minute, you knew Cam Talbot was banged up in the last game. Why on earth you waited until an hour or two before puck drop to say, you know what, Cam's a no-go tonight. Mads Søgaard, step up, man, you're in. That's ridiculous to me. You've got to have a better idea and a better sense of what's going on. And either your team doctors and your medical staff have to convey the message to the coaching staff sooner that this guy's not feeling right to play in that game. But that just puts Søgaard, who's a very young goalie, in a tough spot. And you could tell he was just not ready from the very beginning last night. Last second, now he's starting in that game. And sure enough, of course, you look at Chicago, and they took advantage of it. And Ottawa had a bunch of chances, and Alex Stalock looks like Marty Brodeur, which I guarantee he will not look like in the next game, because that's usually the way he operates. He has one good game every 10, and then the next game he goes back to looking the way we expect Alex Stalock to play. So, but credit to Chicago, and again, Ottawa, don't just write them off because they had a really bad game last night. Don't be surprised if they go to Seattle Thursday night and play a whole lot better. That looked like an angry, pissed off team last night. And I like the emotion shown by Brady Tkachuk fighting that big character, Jared Tenorti. I think that was a great move by him, try to stimulate the team a little bit, pump some life into them. I like that he was able to do that. So definitely, I think when you look at this situation for Ottawa, all will be fine. They're still playing very good as of late, and we'll see how they bounce back, of course, Thursday night in Seattle. Quickly on the other games last night, and then we'll jump right into tonight. San Jose, 3-2 win over Winnipeg last night in overtime. Just a ton of chances for the Jets, not enough finish. Edmonton with a 3-2 win over Buffalo last night. Much lower scoring than a lot of people expected. Obviously, we got the first period, both teams to score, and it was so easy that came through. And so quickly, we're like, oh, here comes the avalanche of goals. And sure enough, last night, we saw a situation where, we had Edmonton and Buffalo really playing tighter, but a lot of missed chances. Goaltending was solid from Anderson and especially from Stuart Skinner. and the Oilers get a 3-2 win last night against the Sabres. We saw Calgary 5-4 against Dallas. Man, what a heartbreaker for people on the draw, including me and Alex. I mean, 5 seconds to go. The game-winning goal scored by Tyler Toffoli. Come on, Dallas. What are you fucking doing? Giving up a breakaway in the final seconds of the regulation time? That is just a no-no. You've got 1 point in the bank. All you have to do is don't let anyone get behind you and give up a fucking breakaway. And sure enough, that's exactly what they did. And I'm finding with Ottinger lately, he's just not coming up with as many of those big saves. That was a good shot by Toffoli, but you're a guy that almost stole a series for Dallas last year against Calgary. Can I get a save there? I mean, I know it was a nice shot, but come on, can I get a damn save in that spot? You have a chance to get a point in the bank, go to overtime. It was a really nice shot by Toffoli, but when Jake Ottinger's on his game, he's got a chance to stop that, even on a breakaway, even though it is a high danger chance. So, he's just not giving up, or he's given up those kind of goals that you weren't seeing last year either. So Calgary with the 5-4 win there. We saw Vancouver. Look, they're playing harder, better, under talk at the last few games, 4-3. They beat Nashville in a shootout, and the LA Kings with a 4-2 win against Washington. Rough, start to the night, but at least we were able to cash the 2 late games. Vancouver money line, and as well the Kings team total over 3.5. Both of them came through. Kings take care of business against the Capitals 4-2 last night. All right, that's enough of last night. Let's get on to today because we have a huge card. We will start with the Carolina Hurricanes and the Montreal Canadiens. Carolina laying a big number here, minus 325 on the road total in this one, plus or 6 shaded to the over in this game. This is definitely going to be, let's see what kind of focus we get from Carolina. We know they're the better of these two teams, but, you just kicked the absolute shit out of Tampa Bay on Sunday afternoon, a team that kind of has owned you in the playoffs in particular the last few years. I'm sure it was an ultra satisfying victory for the Hurricanes on Sunday afternoon. Now let's see how they fare here against a Montreal team that, look, we saw it against Vegas. The Montreal Canadiens, and it's usually against the better teams where, the Montreal Canadiens bring a pretty good effort, to the ice. Now, last time they played Carolina, it was in Carolina, and it was a 6-2 win for the Hurricanes. In fact, the Canes have won 4 straight meetings, 7-1 in the last 8 head-to-head meetings against Montreal. So they've really dominated this Montreal team. But this spot's a little dubious, in my opinion, especially when you're talking about a minus 325 favorite. You just beat down Tampa Bay 6-0, and now you go to Montreal for a road game here, and then you go back home, you play Philly, and then you play Vegas, New Jersey. You got some bigger games coming up. It's a matter of focus tonight, really, for the Carolina Hurricanes here in this game. Montreal, not a great road trip in terms of the results, but when you look at the overall totality of the way they performed in those road games, it wasn't that bad. You look at the 3 games, 3-2 against LA. They could have won that game for sure. No question about that. 3-2 against Anaheim. That one, obviously the Ducks are right where they are, bottom tier team in the league, but again, a winnable game. And I thought the effort level against Vegas, when it looked like things were going south for a bit there, they ended up rallying from a deficit there, made it a 1-goal game. But Vegas ends up hanging on for the 4-3 win. Very easily could have just rolled over and said, not our day. But that's the one thing you are getting from the Montreal Canadiens right now is pretty strong effort, compete level for 60 minutes. It's what Marty St. Louis has been stressing to his team throughout much of the season. So that's going to be interesting to see if it carries over here to tonight. Jake Allen is confirmed in net for the Canadiens. Still very banged up, though. That's the amazing part about how competitive they've been is just who's out. Arbor Jacki, Slavkovsky, Sean Monahan, Brendan Gallagher, Jake Evans, Cole Caulfield, Caden Gooley, Kirby Doc, Justin Barron, I should say, Yoel Armia. I mean, all of them have been out here for the Montreal Canadiens in recent games. So and yet here they are. They're right there in every single game. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to maybe dabble in a Montreal first period, a Montreal, plus 1.5 if you want to, just because I do feel this is a very ripe for the picking spot, to maybe go against a Hurricanes team that, had it so easy against Tampa Bay, an ultra satisfying win. Again, Tampa has had a lot of success against Carolina in the postseason the last few years. I'm sure that felt good. Montreal, when you look at their home performances, let's not forget they beat Edmonton here on this home ice. They've beaten Toronto before here on this home ice. So they have come up in spots similar to this and pulled some big-time stunners in the past here on their home ice. So This is one where I'm contemplating at least. Now, nothing crazy because you do know this is a Carolina team that's playing great hockey right now, but maybe a little dabble in Montreal in the first period and a little bit for that full game money line as well here in this matchup. I like the over too. I think you could see the Carolina defensive play, which has been so strong. Maybe just taking a little night off here. I think it's going to be easy. Stroll into Montreal against this Canadiens team, and that angle is in play. That long-term over angle where teams coming off a game in Vegas. It is an angle that's in play here with Montreal tonight, who of course played in Vegas on Sunday night, where the trend is after a game in Vegas, like almost over 60% to the over since Vegas has been in the league. So what for teams that were in Vegas, their last game, that's their next game goes over at over 60%. So it's a good angle. And the total is only 6, not 6.5. So I do like this over 6 minus 120 a little bit as well. We got our guy, Alex P. Smith, with us now. Alex, first game on this Tuesday card, Carolina, Montreal.
I got to go with the old not so fast, my friend. I actually kind of lean with this under. And this is more of a show me game from Carolina's perspective. As great as they've played defensively, like that, can they keep stringing this along together? And they should be able to do this against a Habs team that's basically just been automatically, it seems like, looking back at their history, 3-2, 2, 3-2, they pretty much stick around in that 2 to 3 goal range. I don't know if I want to lay 2.5 minus $1.40, $1.45 on that team total under with the Habs. I'm thinking I'm just going to go with this under 6. And I don't play many unders. Most people know that, but I just feel like Carolina's defense is for real right now, and I don't see where the Habs can really generate a bunch of offense. Carolina can kind of name their score. If they play at that same kind of intensity they played against Tampa, this could easily be a 2-0, 3-0 Carolina win. So I'm going to go under 6.
All right, Alex, like in the under here, under 6 in this one. And certainly, if Carolina's defensively as strong as they were against Tampa Bay, definitely will have that chance to beat possibly a lower scoring game. We'll see how it plays out here. As far as the props here in this game, again, with Carolina, you don't want to go nuts with the shots on goal props, especially for the opponent, because they're just so good at keeping the shots on goal at a minimum. Tampa Bay found that out. They didn't get a goddamn shot on goal in the second period and 4 for the first 2 periods, as we expressed how insane that was yesterday on the show. But there are still some props that stand out. If I'm going to target some Montreal props, I've talked for weeks about Josh Anderson, but there's someone else on Montreal that's even, I think, surpassed him in terms of the value quotient for shots on goal, and that's the defenseman, Mike Matheson. I'm telling you, this guy has really been shooting the puck a lot lately for the Montreal Canadiens. He's been jumping into the play. I think because of all the people that are out of the lineup offensively for Montreal, he figures, you know what, I got to jump into the play. I've got to be more impactful for this hockey team moving forward. I've got to find a way to, maybe join the rush and have some success in that regard. And you're seeing it right now from Matheson. He's been chipping in points. He's been consistently, as of late, going over his shots on goal prop. It's plus money, plus 116 at Pinnacle for over 2.5 shots on goal for Matheson tonight in this game. That's definitely the one that stands out if I'm going to look at a prop involving the Canadiens from a shots on goal perspective. 3-3-3-3-6-5 shots on goal in the last 6 games. So 6 straight times he's gone over 2.5 shots. He might even be worth a look from a point prop perspective. I know you're playing against this stingy Carolina team, but you can't argue the numbers and the results lately. He has a point in 7 of the last 8 games for the Montreal Canadiens, Matheson. So definitely some interesting prop looks there as far as him tonight. Like I said, he's gone over 2.5 in 6 straight games for the Canadiens. As far as the Hurricanes are concerned, I'd pivot away. Seth Jarvis has cooled off a little bit with the shots quotient. I'd go back to Mr. Natchez here. Mr. Natchez is just fantastic. 3 of the last 4, he's gone over 2.5 shots. I like his over shots tonight. He's just been lighting up the score sheet. He's got 7 points in the last 3 games, goals in 2 of the 3 games. It's a Marty Natchez world, and we're all just privy to live in it right now for the Carolina Hurricanes. He's just been terrific for them. So any and all Natchez props there, shots, goal, point, all of those, I think definitely worth a look here. And let me just confirm what the prices are. They've jumped up the point prop finally. We were getting less than minus 150 for the longest time. Now it's up to that's where it should be, minus 175. The goal prop at plus 178. So definitely, again, he has been playing excellent for the Carolina Hurricanes. Brent Burns point prop, we've recited that repeatedly. That's a little bit better at -150. It's not quite as juiced up as the Natchez point prop, but definitely some good looks there as far as that is concerned. And again, in terms of the shots on goal prop for Carolina, Jarvis, yeah, I mean Jarvis. I'm not saying don't bet the Jarvis. I'm not saying don't bet it on, or I'm not saying bet it under, but definitely he's cooled off on the over. If anything, you're getting a little bit maybe more of a bargain. Let me see actually, because I've got the numbers available here. What has Jarvis done against Montreal? Because sometimes you want to factor in who you're playing in terms of, do you fire the puck more? Do you have more offensive chances, opportunity when you're facing a particular opponent? I'm just trying to see on the Montreal Carolina side. I don't see anything that really stands out in terms of a previous performance. But yeah, as far as this goes, I think Matheson shot. You could still go with Jarvis. He is still 7 of his last 10 over 2.5. So you're still playing the percentages, and you're not laying a big amount of juice there. So I might even still sprinkle a little bit on that. Like I say, Natchez point, Burns point, Matheson point, Burns assist as well in 3 straight games for Carolina going into this one. So those are all prop looks I would be interested in here for this matchup. All right, Columbus, Pittsburgh. We've got Pittsburgh -300, home favorite 6.5, the total in this one. I really encourage you, if you haven't seen it yet, it was posted, I believe, on NHL.com, and it was written by one of the Jackets beat writers, reporter Andrew Swoboda, I think is his name. I know Portsline is the main, character that covers the Blue Jackets, but Aaron Swoboda did a written article and interview with Merzlikins, and it was a really harrowing interview because Merzlikins is talking about he just went on a honeymoon, not a honeymoon, but a vacation with his wife during the All-Star break, and he basically went into the ocean or the lake, wherever they were swimming, and all by himself, and he just let out all the frustrations, like yelling, screaming, crying, like all these different emotions that Merzlikins had pent up inside him over everything he's gone through. Kivlenik's situation with the firework incident, which was a tragedy, the struggles on the ice this season, some mental health struggles apparently that he's been coping with off the ice. It was a great read, and it really goes into the mind of just how much has been on his plate emotionally this year for the Columbus Blue Jackets. So it was a great read, and he just said, I went into a quiet place during that vacation, away from everybody, and I just let it all out. I screamed, I yelled, I cried, and it was just, it tells you just everything he's gone through this year. And he felt coming out of that and off that, time away, that he, got some perspective, cleared his mind, felt a little bit more at least at peace, and was able to try to focus more on hockey after that. And sure enough, if you actually look since the All-Star break, Elvis Merzlikins has been a little bit better. You'll notice his numbers, they have picked up a little bit, and I think there is definitely some truth to that. That he just needed some time away to clear his mind, and maybe it's helped him. Because there's no doubt he's played a little bit better here for the Jackets, and it's his team now. Jonas Korpisalo's gone in that trade to LA. He's going to get the lion's share of the starts now moving forward for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Let's see how he does with them here in this game moving forward. Now, he did get pulled against Ottawa, but as we've talked about, the Senators have been, prior to last night, they had been lighting it up quite a bit. Pittsburgh is off a 4-1 loss to the Florida Panthers in their last game. They certainly need to get back on track here as they are trying to shore up their playoff positioning. Pittsburgh has won 7 straight. They have dominated this Jackets team over the years, 7 straight victories for this Penguins team, but I'm not coming close to taking Pittsburgh in any form here. -300 is just too pricey. I don't even love the puck lines, not even as much as I would have liked in terms of the price, either the first period or full game. So this is really a stay away. I did kind of look at the over, which has cashed in 2 of the last 3 meetings between these two teams. But also at the same time, you look at the way, Columbus has, Merzlikins has played at least a little bit better. What are you going to get from Pittsburgh is going to be the question here. They've actually alternated overs and unders the last 6 games. Over, under, over, under, over, under. If you believe in that, certainly you bet the over here because that means they're due for the over tonight. But I'm lukewarm on that. I definitely lean to the over, but haven't bet it yet. Maybe we'll look for something during our live betcast tonight in game. It's a good night if you're lukewarm on something pregame. Good night to pump the brakes. Look for something during our live betcast, since we'll be on the air tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern during all the games. Alex, what do you think here? Blue Jackets, Penguins.
Yeah, and that's interesting. I have to definitely check out that piece on Merzlikins. We've kind of touched on that for quite some time, that we just something was off with him, and obviously things that have been going on in his life on and off of the ice, seemingly come to a head, and it's tough for anybody, obviously, to have to deal with those things, especially when you're under the spotlight and limelight of being a National Hockey League player as well. So something I have to read up on for sure. But this is has been a one-sided rivalry for a long time. I mean, Pittsburgh has pretty much owned Columbus, no matter where these two teams play, no matter what time of year these two teams play. I'm going with that first period over 2 at plus 125. I think that's a slightly inflated price for a historical series like this, but it's been over trending with goals, not just throughout the game, but specifically early in the first period. So going with that first period over 2, and maybe even a lean with the full game over as well. Like I said, I think this could just be kind of a bit of a back and forth battle. Pittsburgh hasn't been that great. Columbus has been kind of feisty in some games. So maybe, these two teams can kind of just duke it out and run up the score. But I like the first period over a little bit more.
First period over here for Alex with the Jackets and the Penguins here in this game. As far as this game goes with the prop market, I'm just looking to see what we've got here. There's a couple on the Pittsburgh side. Jason Zucker, Chris Letang, actually. We've seen a little uptick with him shooting the puck of late as well for the Penguins, so keep an eye on that. Could be shots on goal prop targets here in this game. But definitely Lion A, 7 of the last 10 games with a point. Boone Jenner actually over 2.5 shots, 7 of the last 10 games for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Raquel's gone over in 4 straight games. His shots on goal prop, and it's remained pretty constant at 2.5 throughout that stretch. So definitely another prop to look at there going into this game. I think in terms of goals, assists, points, actual production offensively, like I say for Pittsburgh, I've always mentioned Jason Zucker's name because I see this guy playing hard every night. And what I like about Zucker is he's not someone that's a lot gets into the fray physically and mixes it up and drops his gloves. He's even been doing that lately. Like he's trying to drag his team into the playoffs. Jason Zucker, the effort and the compete and the physicality, throwing his weight around, getting in scrums, mixing it up. In addition to what he's doing offensively, contributing, I mean, I think it's definitely noticeable. It should rub off on that Penguins team because the way he's played with that great spirit, and noticeable, always taking the puck to the net as well. It's definitely something that could galvanize a team that's trying to make the playoffs. He's only plus 105 to get a point tonight in this game, over 2.5 shots as well. Score a goal if you want it, plus 250. Not a bad option as well for Jason Zucker tonight for the Penguins. So those all make sense to me in terms of looking at some shots on goal numbers involving that for sure. So definitely, I think when you look at this game here, Pittsburgh should win, but Columbus has always pulled those upsets from time to time. And again, after seeing Merzlikins basically say what he did in that interview piece about how he feels like he's got a clear mind now. And it's been noticeable that he has played better in certain starts here since that time. All right, Philadelphia and the struggling Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa Bay minus 300 here. Home favorites in this game, and the total 6 pretty much across the board. This is for me, dog or pass. I cannot and will not endorse Tampa Bay right now. No question about that. That being said, I will throw out one caveat. They couldn't have lined up a better spot and opponent maybe to snap out of this thing. I mean, you got Philadelphia at home. Surely you can win this hockey game. Can't you, Tampa Bay? Well, I guess we're going to find out here tonight if they can indeed win this hockey game between these two teams. But definitely concerns about the way they played, concerns that they were just so listless, I think, in their last game against the Carolina Hurricanes. They end up sitting down. Stamkos, Kucherov, and point. And made a big deal out of. They made a big deal of it, of course, coming out of that game. And what kind of response would they get? And the response was 4 shots in the first 2 periods of the hockey game. So it wasn't good at all. And, you just have to, and you have to just wonder now if this is a team that, needs some more time to find themselves. We'll have to wait and see tonight going into this game. But it's a very volatile game. I think if it was any team that was playing even just, a little bit more with confidence than Philly right now, although they did beat Detroit 3-1 in their last game. So maybe they do get confidence from that. But, when they've played the quality competition, things haven't really gone well for the Flyers. They get drilled by the Devils. They lose to the Rangers. We'll see how they fare here. I mean, I certainly would only take Philadelphia. Take a shot with the plus 240, plus 250, or you pass the game. Simple as that for me. That's clearly what I'm doing. It's either take the Philly side for a small shot or pass the game. That's what I would recommend here. But I'm probably thinking pass, because you don't want to be one of these people that you just see Tampa play maybe their worst game. They're getting ripped, by the way, left and right. I'm sure they know that. I'm sure they've heard they say they tune out the newspapers and the media and what people are saying on talk shows and all that. But I'm sure someone's getting back to them. Someone that's a friend or a family member saying to the Stamkos or Kucherov, point one of these guys that, hey, you're getting ripped right now. Everybody's talking about how bad you've been here the last few games. So does that stoke them? Who knows? But Philly or pass for me in this game if I were to bet it either side or totals wise. I mean, it's 6 here. I could see it going either way. If Tampa could explode, it could go over. But Philly and Tampa Bay have played twice this year, and both games have stayed under. So it is worth noting. And I should also point out, for those of you maybe thinking of taking a flyer, no pun intended, with Philadelphia here in this game, when they played October 18th, the only meeting in Tampa and this year, and Philly won that game 3-2 as a even bigger dog than they are here. They were plus 265 in that game. So they did win in Tampa Bay earlier this year. We'll see if they can do so once again here tonight. And of course, from an injury standpoint for Tampa Bay, everyone waiting with bated breath. What was the news going to be for Victor Hedman? He obviously had that collision in the Carolina game. He was shaken up. It didn't look good initially. He was down on the ice for a little bit. But luckily for the Tampa Bay Lightning, lower body, and it's going to be day to day for Victor Hedman. It's not week to week. It's not, going to be a season-ending injury, nothing like that. So they avoid disaster on the Victor Hedman injury front for Tampa Bay. What do you think here, Alex? Flyers, Lightning?
I can't go anywhere near this game. The one thing I was even slightly looking toward was Lightning first period puck line, and it's only plus $1.10. I would need more value than that to back them right now. They're in awful shape, and they should put the screws to Philly. If they're really about it, they should win this game, honestly, 6-1. But there's a good chance that they could lose this game 3-2, probably going even to overtime. I mean, they're just such a mess right now. He said there's no way you can look at them from a totals perspective when you're getting off 4 shots on goal in a 40-minute span. You can't rely on them to shut down and be defensively and play under. They're just a mess. And Philly, like I said, if this was a better team coming into Tampa right now, I'd be all over a dog at a big price. But I can't back Philly even at this kind of an inflated number either. So it's a stay away game for me.
You look at this Flyers team, and I think if there's some way to bet Tampa Bay here in this game, maybe this is a game like they had 14 shots on goal the last game, and they did have over 30 the previous game. I would say I'd feel better about maybe betting some Lightning shots on goal props than betting them to win, betting them to, betting their team total, betting anything like that right now. At least the one thing you can hopefully maybe try to capitalize on is some of these player shots on goal props. So I think if you're going to try to, back the Lightning in some form in this game, I think that's probably your best conduit. Your best route to do so is maybe look toward maybe some shots on goal props more than anything else here with the Lightning going into tonight's game. But as far as the props go for me, like I say, this is a game I'm definitely treacherous with, or it's treacherous in my opinion. I'm being a little bit careful here going into it. Let's see what the lines are going to be, because it wouldn't shock me to see a little shake up here in the lines from John Cooper after what's gone on here the last couple games. It looks like we're going to see Stamkos, Point, Kucherov, Hagel, Cirelli, Killorn. It's not a whole lot of change actually, and Jeannot and Paul and Colton. So not a whole lot is going to change if these lines that I'm seeing right now stay the way they are. So we'll see how it plays out tonight in this game. But the only props really that I've really piqued my interest here, Braden Point's going to be the guy, right? Braden Point's going to be the guy if they're going to have a spark of any kind. It's going to be Braden Point. The one thing Braden Point has been doing is scoring goals. 7 of the last 10 games, he has found the back of the net. So even though, I say I want no part of Tampa Bay as a massive favorite in their current form the way it is, the Braden Point goal prop, I don't want to say automatic, but, I think there's a pretty good chance he finds the back of the net here tonight in this hockey game for the Tampa Bay Lightning. That certainly would not surprise me one bit. All right, next up, we've got the Vegas Golden Knights and the Florida Panthers. Florida minus 150, home favorite, 6.5 the total. Here in this one, Vegas beginning a road trip here tonight in Florida. This will be one of the games definitely I'll be most intrigued by on our betcast tonight, no question about it. You've got a Vegas team, of course, still battling for supremacy in their own division in the Pacific. 3 straight wins for the Golden Knights, 3-2, 4-3, 4-3. Florida off a 4-1 win against Pittsburgh, much needed as they try to crawl back into the Eastern Conference playoff mix, which they are still very much in, but definitely at the same point in time, you look at this Florida team, maddeningly inconsistent here going into this game tonight. You look at it; they've alternated wins and losses in 10 straight hockey games. So putting wins together has been an issue. And the last time we trusted Florida to keep it rolling after a nice win was the Nashville game at home, and they lost 2-1. So that's not exactly what you want to see. But going back to February 9th against San Jose for the Florida Panthers, what did we see? We saw a loss to Colorado. Then they won at Minnesota, lost at St. Louis, won at Washington, lost at Nashville, won against Anaheim, lost to Buffalo, won at Tampa, lost to Nashville. I mean, they just can't win 2 in a row, this group. Even with the games, very important. I lean. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a split with Vegas money line and the draw. I do think we're going to get maybe a chance for a close game, tight game. I'll say this about Florida. The Buffalo game was an empty net goal away from maybe going to overtime. Anaheim game went to OT. They dominated Tampa, so that game was really never threatening overtime. But Nashville game was a 2-1 one-goal game there. Even the Pittsburgh Florida game, it was 3-1, and then they stretched it out. But they played some pretty competitive games, so this would probably be put a little on Vegas, put a little on the draw. I don't trust Florida at all in this price range. Not able to win 2 games in a row. That's a problem to me, especially when you need points desperately. You're supposed to bear down and be able to play good 2 games in a row. When you bring one good game, you don't just, come back the next time and not be able to replicate that. That's the sign of a mediocre hockey team. And maybe that's what Florida is right now. And what's shocking too is after some of these wins they've had and they've lost the very next game, some of these are to bad teams. St. Louis, Nashville twice. I mean, Nashville after they were starting to trade off their pieces here. That's the alarming part about Florida off a win being so bad lately, is that some of these losses have been to teams that are just not exactly playing good hockey. Vegas, say what you will, they're battling through stuff right now with some injuries still. And of course, they're battling Logan Thompson being out, Aiden Hill and Jonathan Quick having to man the fort. But I don't question their compete level. Certainly since the All-Star break, pretty much, it's always been there. So I'm going to do a half and half here. Vegas plus 130 and a little on the draw at an over plus 300 price as well. Alex, what do you like here? Golden Knights, Panthers.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I'm right there with you on Vegas. I don't know about the draw. The draw kind of, I feel I'm tempted to take Vegas in regulation at plus 185 is the price I saw. But I grabbed Vegas just straight money line. I got plus 135, and like I said, this is more of a fade on Florida. I just can't back Florida at all, especially laying 150 against a really good Vegas team that should be jazzed up. Like I said, getting ready to hit the road, starting of a road trip. I expect to see some good form and good momentum from this Vegas team. So I might even, if I go with a split, I might go half and half of Vegas first period, Vegas full game. But right now I'm sticking with the full game. Like I said, just kind of want to see, we might get some more money come in on Florida. Like I said, I think people are betting Florida out of their desperation. They, they're kind of falling into that trap of, must win game. What must win doesn't mean will win. We talk about that all the time. And I think that's the reason why we're seeing this number as high as it is. This even, I get it, Vegas on the road, but still, I think this is a good value here. So I like Vegas in this spot, plus 130.
And the road record, too, for Vegas, as we've talked about throughout the course of the season, hasn't been that bad at all. In fact, they enter this game 17-10 on the road this year. They've got as many road wins as Florida does at home. So they're very capable here in this game. There are a lot of props that pique my interest for Vegas. Marchessault over shots, Eichel over shots, because Florida does give up a lot of shots. Let's be honest. That hasn't changed. They've given up 30-plus shots in 4 of the last 5 games. Eichel, Marchessault, Riley Smith, too. Keep an eye on him. Goal and a point for Riley Smith, the point prop for him in particular. He's starting to get his game going. How about close shave Barbashev, Ivan Barbashev? In that last game against the Montreal Canadiens. He got his first goal with the Vegas Golden Knights. And with Barbashev, too, keep an eye on, based on where he is in the lineup for Vegas right now, top line duty with Eichel and Marchessault. He's getting that exposure. He's getting that opportunity to make an impact, playing on the top unit for Bruce Cassidy and the Golden Knights. And I think as a result, you look at Barbashev. I liked this game, especially against Montreal the other night. In on the forecheck, making things happen, winning puck battles, just a tenacious player. Like when he wants that puck, you're not getting it from him. He's a very, very tough player to knock off the puck as well. He's got all of that going for him. I don't mind a plus 360 at some spots for him to score a goal, and he's playing on the top line. And he's only plus 106 at FanDuel to get a point tonight. It's an excellent, excellent look. One of my favorite player prop looks tonight is without a doubt our guy, Ivan Close Shave Barbashev. Close shave. I love doing that. Ivan Barbashev at FanDuel, plus 106. And again, to score a goal at plus 360 in this game. Again, he's been noticeable since joining the squad in the recent trade with St. Louis. And again, getting that opportunity for sure for them. He's had 5 shots on goal, by the way, the last 2 games as well. 10 hits. How about that? 10 hits. And it's funny, the last 2 times he played with St. Louis, he had 1 hit in each of those games. You talk about your intensity level going up tenfold, going from a team that's, trading away guys, going nowhere. Then you go to Vegas, and it's like he's re-engaged again, reignited, Ivan Barbashev. So 10 hits, 5 shots, 4 points in the 2 games as a member of the Vegas Golden Knights. Yeah, 4 points in 2 games with the Golden Knights. And of course, he had the 2-goal game against Montreal as well. So absolutely, if you're talking about a goal prop and a point prop combo tonight, one of my favorites on the board, might be my favorite on the board, Ivan Barbashev here for Vegas tonight in this game. There are some shots on goal props for Florida that are worth a look too, because that's the one thing about them is they've had a lot of players shooting the puck a lot, trending over with their shots on goal. Theodore, by the way, 8 of the last 10 games with a point for Vegas, too. So throw him in there as a good point prop look tonight. You've got Barkov's gone over his shots prop 8 of the last 10 games. I think as the captain, he feels like, hey, I've got to try to shoot the puck a bit more. I'm a great playmaker, but I've got to try to look for some offense. I've got to try to get my offense going because we need it. We're trying to make the playoffs. I'm the leader. So he's been shooting the puck more, as evidenced by 8 of the last 10. He's gone over his shots prop. We've talked about the usual suspects, Reinhart, Montour, Ekblad, all going over their shot prop in 7 of the last 10 games as well. And a couple point props, too, on Florida, because I don't think Vegas will shut them out entirely here in this game. There are still some Florida looks that I'm interested in for props here tonight. One of them being certainly E2, our guy, Cool Mint Lusterinen here for this Panthers team. He's actually up on the top line tonight for Florida. Lusterinen playing alongside Alex Barkov and Anthony Duclair tonight for this Panthers team. He's gotten a point for the Panthers in, I believe, 7 of the last 10 games for them. Yep, 7 of 10 with at least 1 point for our guy, Cool Mint Lusterinen on this Panthers team. And his point prop tonight is plus 128 at FanDuel. So it's an excellent, excellent price there, given the top line duty, given the fact that he's got 7 of his last 10 with at least 1 point. So Cool Mint Lusterinen on the Florida Panthers, plus 128 to get a point tonight. Looks really good to me going into this game tonight. All right, we've got the Toronto Maple Leafs and the New Jersey Devils next up here. Interesting travel situation for both of these teams. You've got New Jersey minus 135, home favorites, 6.5 the total. The Devils are coming back from Arizona and a little Western sojourn. They were in Vegas and Arizona back-to-back, and then they were in Colorado before that. So they're off 3 games out west. And Toronto's coming back to New Jersey for this game off a Western trip as well through Alberta and BC, through Edmonton, Calgary, and Vancouver. So both of these teams are in a little bit of a dubious, tricky spot here tonight in this game. Devils certainly are going to be, I think right now the Devils playing well. I'm not excited about the idea of going against them here. Toronto's got some problems right now in terms of their lineup's going to have to be shaken up tonight. They're going to be without their captain John Tavares for this game tonight due to I think there's some concussion concerns. That's what I think it is right now for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and it's worrisome. They say an abundance of caution with his injury status, and that's not the kind of thing you want to hear, and it makes me worried that this could balloon into something where he's not just out tonight. Maybe he's out for a few games, maybe even a few weeks. I mean, you never know with, when you get hit around the head area. So that definitely is concerning for the Leafs going into this game tonight. Ryan O'Reilly, of course, placed on IR, and the latest news is he went through surgery, and they're expecting him to be out an even month, so 4 weeks before we see Ryan O'Reilly back on the ice for the Toronto Maple Leafs in a game. Toronto, of course, they only went 1-2 on that Western Canada trip. They lost to Edmonton, they beat Calgary, and then they lost to Vancouver 4-1. Toronto looks like they're just trying to get their chemistry. And they just brought in so many new faces, so many new players at the trade deadline. When you think of O'Reilly and Achari, when you think of McCabe and Lafferty, and Eric Gustafson from Washington on defense. Luke Shen, who's actually not with the team now because his wife's about to give birth. But there's just so many new faces. And every game now since they made all these changes, Sheldon Keefe's got a new forward lineup and a new defensive lineup every night. It's very difficult to play well when you've got just new faces and consistently moving of the deck chairs with your lineup. I mean, there's just no set lineup right now from one game to the next for the Toronto Maple Leafs because they're just trying to figure out what works. Oh, the one guy played last night. Oh, you got to get the other guy in. That can sometimes be a bit of a bad thing when you got all this depth, especially with their defense right now. But it looks like tonight it's going to be Jake McCabe, TJ Brody, Morgan Riley, Timothy Liljegren. Looks like he's going to get back into the lineup. He didn't play the last game. Giordano and Hall are going to be the defensemen. And it looks like Eric Gustafson and Connor Timmins are going to be your healthy scratches tonight. And that's why I'm shocked they didn't trade a defenseman at the trade deadline, because they got 8 defensemen that are all capable of starting, 9 if you include Shen, who's not even with the team tonight. So, they've just got an influx of defensemen right now at this point in time. So their chemistry's not right. I certainly think they're going to want to play better here than they did against Vancouver, although to their credit, they did dominate the early part of that game. They couldn't beat Demko, and then once Vancouver got that first goal, that's kind of when the Canucks started to take over, and those 2 short-handed goals on the same power play for Toronto were backbreaking against Vancouver. Such a Leaf moment to do that, by the way. Give up 2 shorties on the same goddamn power play. But Toronto is accustomed to some hideous moments like that from time to time. But this is a tricky one. This is one where I think both teams are in tricky spots. The total's also tricky because I think both teams might want to tighten up. But at the same time, they got the firepower to make this total look short. New Jersey's certainly been trending over the total. We've talked about this year lately. 6 straight games over the total. I'd play over before under. But then again, you've seen 3 straight head-to-heads go under. So, but I'd lean over. Anything else I do with this game, at least side or total, will be betcast stuff that I do from a live perspective later tonight. What do you think here in this one, Alex? Toronto, New Jersey.
Yeah, I'm grabbing the draw here at plus 340. I feel like this could easily be one of those tight games. Like I said, with Toronto having to shift around the lineups with no Tavares, no O'Reilly now. And obviously, I think they're going to still give a valiant effort. It's going to be a next man up mentality. Like I said, this is obviously really bad to have, one of your key new additions, especially with O'Reilly, but also, your captain Tavares, having both those guys taking blows and could be out, missing, multiple games. That's not a good feeling for a Leafs team that probably might be feeling a little good about themselves too, because, like I said, playing well, finally getting this team, shored up after the deadline. And also, they kind of be looking at how Tampa Bay's playing right now too and being, hey, just just weather the storm, keep things rolling, keep everybody safe and healthy. And, now we can, do something in the playoffs. And now you got two guys that are going to be at least out for a little bit of time. So I do think it's a good effort, but I think it's going to be a close one. And that plus 340, two teams that need points in the standings. I like to draw here.
Good stuff indeed. Timo Meier, point and goal props. I like. He was very good. Scored in his debut with the New Jersey Devils in that game against Arizona over the weekend. So definitely you could look at. This is one of those games where there's a bunch of point props where it's with players where there's heavy juice. One of those, of course, being Timo Meier, who's minus 200 or so to get a point. So I would put him in a point prop of some kind. You can put Matthews in with it because I think Matthews will find this is a good for both teams. Put a little mixture of both Leafs players and Devils players in a bit of a point parlay. It's funny. I'm not going to build one today because we actually tried one yesterday, and Ottawa Senators point parlay. They get shut out. All you can do is laugh. I mean, here we are. We're taking
Can't make
time
that shit up, right? Alex Stalock shuts that down everybody after all the great numbers you rattled off, and then Stalock just stood on it there. So.
Unbelievable. Yeah, it's just crazy. And they're set up so great. I mean, all these great numbers for they were all streaking too. All those players, Kachuk, Batherson, Stützle, and company. And sure enough, bam, shutout by Chicago last night. But this would be a good game to build a same game parlay point prop with a bunch of players. Matthews, Marner, certainly a Timo Meier, the expensive guys. But I do like a certain player in terms of a single straight bet from a point standpoint. And you know who that is. He's only on a 9-game point streak. Dawson Mercer. We've been talking about him for weeks on this show. We're going to go right back to the well. And I'm going to jump on the goal prop again. Even though he finally had the goal streak broken in that game against Arizona, he still scored in 8 of the last 9 games with that 9-game point streak. He's back down to only minus 118 tonight to get a point. That's stunning. 9 straight games with a point, only minus 118 to get a point at FanDuel tonight for Dawson Mercer, plus 250 to get a goal. We're back on the Dawson Mercer Express. The TAR props also piqued my interest. Good shots on goal game, too. Hischier, Hughes. Meier was a bad beat. I took Meier over 3.5 shots in his first game. He had 3 in the first period. He didn't have 1 after that. It was the damnedest thing. I think they took 1 off the board, honestly, because I thought he had a 4th. In the third period, but they only credited him with 3. And at the end of the day, with these shots on goal bets, it's only what you're credited with in terms of those final numbers. So, but I still think Meier over 3.5 shots on goal could get there. Nylander is just almost automatic for over 3.5 shots. He shoots the puck a lot for Toronto, so not a bad look there. And some good streaking players here in terms of players in good form and on current streaks on both sides. Morgan Rielly to get a point. 3 straight games he's had one. And an assist as well. So Morgan Rielly props for the Toronto Maple Leafs, I think, are a good look in this game. Oh, and there's another guy you can throw in the parlay, too. The SGP point parlay is Dougie Hamilton if you want. Dougie Hamilton has 5 straight games with a point going into tonight for the New Jersey. Actually, you could bet that on its own. It's only minus 132 at FanDuel, so not bad at all. That's actually a good price to bet by itself with Hamilton on a 5-game point streak. And the thing about these players too, Alex, that are on these point streaks, they know they're on these point streaks. So what's that mean? It means they want to keep it going. So you should get the players incentivized to keep the point streaks going when they're in this kind of situation. All right, that's the first half of this Tuesday card. Hit the like button. 187 live viewers on YouTube. 5 games down, 5 games to go. We'll be back with the rest of the card right after we hear from Gramco.
Support for the Ice Guys is brought to you by Gramco. Whether you or your team's game is on the field, screen, racetrack, court, or the ice, Gramco is for the game. Grown by farmers who spent years developing premium hemp genetics, Gramco provides customers with consistent quality Delta 8 THC products ready for any occasion. Gramco currently offers numerous Delta 8 products, including vape cartridges, disposable vapes, pre-rolls, gummies, wake and bake coffee, and more. Gramco offers an enjoyable, legal high delivered discreetly and directly to you. Gramco is also available at many American retailers as well. You can get the best Delta 8 cannabis products on the market shipped quickly and discreetly from Gramco. And if you visit www.thegramco.com, use promo code ICEGUYS, you will get 20% off of every order, and any order that's on the site over $50 will be shipped free with standard shipping. So live elevated with Gramco and check out their wonderful Delta 8 products today.
All right, we are back here on the Ice Guys, and we are ready now for the remainder of this Tuesday card. Reminder, BetCast tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern. Don't you dare miss it. All right, we got the Buffalo Sabres, New York Islanders. Islanders minus 170, home favorites, 6.5 the total in this game. It's definitely a tricky spot for the Sabres back-to-back after a 3-2 loss at home to the Edmonton Oilers last night. They'll certainly be looking to rebound here against the Islanders, who certainly will have a rest advantage at their disposal. The Islanders, of course, in the playoff hunt at the moment, 4-1 win against Detroit in their last game, which that game was tied going into the third, and then they erupted for 3 goals late in the third period to take down the Red Wings in that game, bouncing back from a tough loss against Minnesota the game before that. 5 straight unders for the Islanders versus the over machine, at least until last night, that is the Buffalo Sabres. So, and the total being 6.5 here, which you don't often see with the New York Islanders. So they almost have put this total as a total based on who they're playing, that being the Buffalo Sabres. We'll have to see, of course, who's in net back-to-back. We saw Craig Anderson last night for Buffalo. They're projecting Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen tonight. Should be Ilya Sorokin here for this New York Islanders team. And we'll see if that is indeed the case. This is one of those games, too. You look at series history between them. Buffalo won in overtime the last time they met back in January. And Buffalo's actually played the Islanders very well. 5 of the last 6 games they have won. And here they are again in this road underdog role. How many times have we talked about them in this road underdog role? They've been very good. That being said, I'm not feeling it as much tonight. I'm not, just because of the injury situation on the blue line for the Islanders. I mean, I'm not laying $170 with the Islanders. No friggin' way. That is just not going to happen. And but I've got enough reservations and concerns about Buffalo to not back them going into this game on a back-to-back. Maybe the draw, you could go that way. I mean, they did go to OT last time in Buffalo. But this is going to be a live betting game for me. If anything else, this is going to be more of a pregame prop game. As far as I'm concerned in this one. And again, I think in terms of point props, look, this is a Square City in terms of making this bet, but Tage Thompson point, Brock Nelson point, throw them into a parlay. I mean, these guys are almost automatic right now to at least get on the score sheet for their respective teams. You could definitely go in that direction, I think, in this hockey game. And again, all of a sudden you'd get Thompson to score a point along with Nelson to get a point, and you turn that into a slight plus 105, plus 110 bet, and they've just been, like an automatic to at least find the score sheet for their respective teams lately. What do you think here, Alex? Sabres, Islanders?
Yeah, this is definitely one I'm glad we'll be watching all together during the live betcast. I'm going to be looking for that first period over, grabbing that in game. I'm not laying 150. I can wait and grab that. I believe at least at $1.20, maybe as good as even money or higher at plus price. So that's the one thing I'm zooming in on with this one. Don't want anything to do with a full game side yet. Just kind of want to see where Buffalo's at right now. So these are 2 teams that definitely will be fighting for points. So a draw could be in play. Maybe sprinkle something small on that. But like I said, most of the approach I'm looking for will be in game.
Yeah, this is definitely a lean Buffalo, but I think if I'm the draw to me looks like it might be a better option here. Let's not forget the Islanders were tied at 1-1 with Detroit going into the third at home on Saturday. It's not like they had an easy time of it in that game. They were definitely pushed by Detroit. So I don't think the Islanders, even with the rest advantage, are going to win this game easily or comfortably. That's just not their way overall. Also a couple of I want to point out Casey Middlestat. I mentioned him yesterday, starting to produce a little bit. That's now 3 straight games with a point for him for the Buffalo Sabres. I like Horvat over shots on goal. 3 straight, he's gone over that number. So there are still some pretty good prop options here for this game. Skinner, about 9 points, 9 games in the 9 of the last 10 games, he's had a point for the Buffalo Sabres. You could throw him into that parlay I mentioned with Nelson and Thompson. So definitely, this is definitely a prop builder, point prop builder type of game for me. For sure. All right, next up, we've got Calgary and Minnesota. Minnesota minus 150, home favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. If there's ever going to be a game that gives a team that was looking dead, lifeless, like stick a fork in their season, they're done, and give them some kind of juice and life and pep in their step and energy moving forward, it's that kind of win last night for the Calgary Flames, where they have the lead, they cough it up, and they look like at times that they're facing a penalty kill in the latter minutes of that hockey game. And if Dallas scores there, they go from winning that game to maybe losing in regulation, getting zip, which would have been disastrous, which would have been devastating to Calgary. Instead, they kill off that penalty. Tyler Toffoli scores in the final seconds. As I mentioned in the recap, just breaking our hearts for those of us on the draw in that game last night with the Flames and the Stars. How the Stars give up a breakaway in the dying seconds of the third period. I'm livid. I'm kicking garbage cans. I'm ripping the entire hockey team in the dressing room if I'm Pete DeBoer after that. That's the one cardinal sin. You cannot give up a breakaway when you have a point in the bank, basically. How does that happen? Situational hockey just completely evaporates for Dallas at the end of that game last night with that horrendous breakaway allowed late in the final seconds, and Toffoli buries it for the win. I think Calgary, even though Minnesota's rested, Calgary's on a back-to-back on the road. I think they get a little momentum from that. I kind of like Calgary a little first period in this game. Just, I think, to capitalize on that momentum from last night, maybe jump. And the fact they got shut out and blanked in their building by Minnesota on Saturday night, has them fired up early in this game. Do I trust them to bring it home for 20 minutes? No. And the one thing we see from Minnesota, oftentimes they can get stronger, especially at home as the game goes on. So Calgary first period, I'm going to dabble in that a little bit. And I'm definitely going to come back to another draw with these two teams tonight, even though we saw that draw fall short in Calgary Saturday night. Let's not forget that was 1-0 for the longest time for Minnesota, and Calgary had chances to tie that game, and then they finally got some separation late, and Gustafsson was absolutely terrific in between the pipes for the Wild. Let's not forget that. Obviously, he's back in net tonight for them. Back-to-back, Jacob Markstrom has gotten multiple starts in a row now for Calgary, but on the back-to-back, I would assume Dan Vladar is going to get a look here tonight for Calgary. But either way, I like Calgary early in the first period, and I like the draw here. I think this one definitely has overtime potential. Alex, Flames Wild.
Yeah, it's another one I'm excited for tonight with the betcast. I am on the draw as well. We should easily be talking about back-to-back overtime games for Calgary, like you mentioned. But I also am going to be looking for that first period and full game overlooks. But we're waiting for plus money and maybe even dabbling if we can wait long enough to see if we can get a 4.5 out of that full game total. Because like I said, the Wild, I mean, it's been uncharacteristic. How well of an under team they've been lately. They've been throwing it back to what 2006, 2007. It seems like playing with all these games. These totals of 5.5. The fives might be coming soon. Honestly, if they keep up with the defensive style. But I think, like I said, with Calgary on the second night of back-to-back, that momentum, I think, carries over. I think Minnesota has a bit more pep in their step offensively, and we see goals going both ways. But I think we can wait and get plus prices and maybe even a better number off of a 5.5 with these overs. So looking for the overlooks in-game and then going with the draw. I got that plus 320.
Yeah. Status quo for props. You know them now. You know the drill by now. I've basically bet the same props lately, and they've all been pretty good. Ryan Hartman over shots to get a point. I always, that's just become almost a routine occurrence now for me taking that with his props. On the Calgary side, the same usual suspects, Toffoli over shots, Backlund over shots. And I think the best option right now is actually Blake Coleman for Calgary. We've talked about this. Blake Coleman over 2.5 shots on goal. He has been noticeable every game lately for this Flames team. If they miss the playoffs, and they're not going to be able to blame Blake Coleman, especially as of late with his compete level. He's on top of the puck at all times. He's had a bunch of scoring chances as well. I think that's significant. Definitely, I think you're going to see a situation where he's going to be noticeable once again tonight for the Calgary Flames. And I think definitely his shots on goal prop is worth a look. Maybe tonight one of those shots will go in. He had some chances last night. He had 3 shots on goal. Definitely, I think shots on goal is the best look, but maybe even sprinkle on a goal or point prop with Coleman as well tonight in this game for the Calgary Flames as well. Yeah, I mean, Kaprizov to score a goal, as some people, including our resident Wild fan in the chat, say, like that's never a bad bet or never a bad option. He's got a threat to score every game, obviously, but definitely it goes without saying Kaprizov can find the back of the net any night. What I love too about the Blake Coleman, when he scores a goal on home ice, they play one of my favorite oldies and classic songs, Lee Dorsey, Working in the Coal Mine. Oh, working in a coal mine, going down, 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 working in a coal mine, whoop, about to slip down. I mean, yeah, it's I love that. Great call by the Calgary Flames entertainment producers, whoever they are, that man the music at the Saddle Dome, that when Blake Coleman scores a goal, that's the song that they play, Working in a Coal Mine. Very, very appropriate. All right, next up, we've got San Jose and Colorado. Colorado minus 360, the total 6.5 in this one. I like the over here. I mean, that was frustrating last night. There were two games that just hurt me badly last night, and Ottawa, Chicago was one of them. San Jose, Winnipeg was the other. I mean, Winnipeg, only 2 goals, team total falls short, full game over. Reimer just pulls a rabbit out of his hat there last night in that game. No question about that. And he is a Manitoba guy, so I guess there was coming back close to home, but he played great, and that's your Reimer ratio game. 1 out of every 10 where Reimer's just incredible. And last night was one of those games for him and net for the San Jose Sharks last night. But now it's a tough back-to-back. You're going to the altitude, the thin air, Colorado. Colorado should roll. But they've lost 3 in a row. They lost to New Jersey. They got dummied by Dallas. Seattle comes back from a late deficit, beats them in overtime. So all of a sudden you wonder what's up with the Avs here going into this game. But I think they're definitely going to show up here tonight in this game. And I think they're going to get on the scoreboard early. I'm going to look at a type of bet that I don't look at very often. Now you could go first period puck line here, potentially with with Colorado in this game, but it's like plus 110 at one book. I'm even seeing minus 105 with first period puck line here on this Colorado team tonight. That is definitely not great value in my opinion. But I do expect, or we damn well should expect, a fast start after 3 straight losses in a row. They did have a good start against Seattle. It could not sustain it. And it was late in the game when Seattle came back on them. But they did have the good first period, at least in that game, got out to the early lead. I'm not going to do the first period puck line, but what I am going to do, and I really like the price on this, I'm going to do a very rare first period team total, Colorado Avalanche, over 1.5, plus 185. That now is something that interests me. So that's Colorado first period team total, over 1.5, plus 185. I think they can get 2 goals. And again, it's probably going to be Kaapo Kähkönen here in goal for the Sharks on a back-to-back. It already has been confirmed that it is. So I think they can jump on San Jose early. 2 goals. We don't have to worry about what San Jose does offensively. We take them out of it. We just asked the Avs to score 2 goals in the opening period, something they've done a bunch of times this year, obviously, on home ice. And I think tonight's the spot to maybe look in that direction. And I certainly like that price. Because, look, if they're going to cover the first period puck line, they have to score at least 1 goal. Why not take a chance they score 2 in the first period at a plus 185? So that's the way I'm going to go about it. Avs team total first period, over 1.5, plus 185. Alex, what do you think here? Sharks, Avs.
Yeah, that's a solid look, and that's something I don't play too often myself, but might have to start looking at those, especially when you're seeing some of these inflated numbers with the puck lines, which we're definitely going to get from here until the end of the regular season for sure, with some of these gigantic favorites growing and growing. But I like the over here at 6.5. I grabbed it, played a half unit at $1.15. I like it all the way up to a full unit, but I'm playing it for a half unit personally because I'm going to be dabbling on it in game. I'm going to try and grab 5.5, try and grab over 1.5 in the first period at better prices, and kind of go from a laddering method. So for those of us who will be, in the betcast tonight and looking for some live opportunities, I would say play this a half unit and then try to maneuver with things in game. For those of you who are just going to be, betting it right now and moving along, just go with the over 6.5 right now at $1.15.
Yeah, I definitely think, that's definitely, I like that too. I will be on that as well, actually, the over 6.5. I didn't mention that, but I do like that as well, over 6.5 here tonight with the Sharks and the Avs. And I like that first period, like I said, that team total on the Avs. This is Nathan MacKinnon think about the way that game ended against Seattle. His turnover behind the net actually led to the tying goal in the final few minutes of the third period in that game. And I know that's not going to sit well with him because that's just the kind of guy he is. He wants to be the best. He wants to win every night. He's going to go off tonight, I think. So whatever you can find on McKinnon, over shots on goal, goal prop, over 1.5 points. This is the night I'd absolutely take over 1.5 points on Nathan McKinnon as well in this hockey game. No question about that. Let's be honest. San Jose didn't play great last night. They just capitalized on some chances, some mistakes, and they got an uncharacteristically great performance in net from one of their goaltenders, which really hasn't happened a lot lately. So let's not forget, this team was buried by Washington at home before that. And St. Louis, which isn't in great shape right now, went into San Jose and beat them 6-3. So let's not forget that, even though San Jose won last night. So I think Nathan McKinnon comes back with a vengeance here tonight for the Avalanche. Big Val Nichushkin, by the way, 8 of the last 10 games, he's gotten a point. I might sprinkle on the goal prop, too. He's due to score. He's getting close. 7 straight games with a point as well for Big Val Nichushkin. 5 straight games with an assist for Nichushkin going into this game as well. So keep that in mind. He's definitely been noticeable of late. And again, I think with him, the assist prop is the way to go, because with that, you'll get definitely a better price than you will on the point prop. The point prop on Nichushkin going into this game is minus 175. He's only plus 125 to get an assist, and he's been doing that consistently of late. Big Val Nichushkin for the Avs. Let me just confirm the numbers there. But yeah, it was how many games straight with an assist? Yeah, 5 in a row with an assist, and that's plus 125. Good price.
Yeah, that's solid. I'm adding something else too small, and this would be kind of, like I said, betcast related, but I'm going with Avalanche to score a goal in the first 10 minutes. I got yes at plus 105 over at Bet Online, so I played that small, and that'll be something we'll talk about on the betcast tonight.
Logan Couture, Barabanov are the guys I'd target for San Jose. They're the guys carrying it right now after all the trades were made. And Erik Karlsson, too, is actually he's on a 3-game point streak, 3-game assist streak as well. And I think that guy's at this point of the season just trying to build his Norris Trophy resume, essentially. He knows he's closing in on winning that thing probably. So I think you're just going to want to see him pad his stats probably moving forward. So we'll see if he's able to do that here for the of San Jose Sharks tonight and moving forward for them. All right, St. Louis Blues, Arizona Coyotes. We've got St. Louis minus 135, home favorites, 6.5 the total here in this game. This is one of those games where, Arizona, very feisty, effort against New Jersey, where they're playing a really good team, and they kept on coming back, even though they kept on giving up goals and they kept on getting scored on by New Jersey. I mean, the effort to come back was commendable, but the issue with backing Arizona right now, and I think the price is kind of appealing on them as a home underdog tonight. And again, they put up a great effort against New Jersey, but the problem with backing Arizona right now is this is not an NHL defense right now for them. It's not. They do not have an NHL caliber blue line after all the trades were made. They've got Patrick Nemeth and Giannis Moser as their top pair. That's not a top pair that's of any quality in the NHL. Juuso Valimaki and Josh Brown, their second pair. That's not, anything to write home about. Connor Mackey and Victor Soderstrom on the third pair. That's not an NHL blue line that the Arizona Coyotes have at the moment. An NHL caliber blue line. And if you look at their recent games, you'll know that is the case. I mean, they've just been crushed defensively. 5 to New Jersey, 6 to Carolina, 4 to Dallas, 6 to Nashville, 6 to Calgary. They just can't stop anybody. They give up 40 shots on goal most nights. This defense is just not good. It's going to continue to give up shots. It's going to continue to give up chances. It's going to continue to be a problem to keep the puck out of the net for the Arizona Coyotes the rest of this season. As long as Andre Tourigny's got this, thin blue line to work with, that's what's going to happen. They're going to end up giving up goals in bunches. So when I look at this game here with St. Louis and Arizona, I could only look at a St. Louis team total over 3.5. I like the full game over as well, 6.5. That's another thing with Arizona. We've seen their full game overs kind of start to get going again. They've gone over the total 4-1-1 in their last 6 games to the over. They've had 6-3, 6-2, 6-1, and 5-4 in the last 2 games, giving up 11 goals in those last 2 games combined. They're an over team right now, especially with their horrendous defense right now. And I feel bad for Vejmelka and Ingram, that tandem. They're going to see 40 shots on goal almost every night with this blue line in front of them. And they're going to face more rubber than you can imagine moving forward. So I like the full game over 6.5 with a little smaller bet on the Blues team total over. I think from a money line price, I mean, St. Louis, I don't trust as a road favorite, but at the same time, I don't trust Arizona's defense. I think St. Louis is still going to end up scoring. So, but I think that's the best way to approach it. Zone in on that team total, 3.5 on the Blues. This is an Arizona team that's given up, it seems, 4 goals minimum repeatedly, and it's 3.5, and it's right around even money. It's not that bad of a price on the Blues team total either. I like the full game over as well. Alex, what do you think here? Blues Coyotes.
Yeah, definitely look at an over here in this one. It's just a lean for now. It's one it's a big card, so I already have a lot of plays. So I probably will try and watch this game, see if I can jump on a 5.5 in game with the pace, because these are 2 teams that, like I said, they're basically playing for exercise right now. They've had a high scoring history against one another, but it's just St. Louis is just kind of a hard team to read on all fronts at this point. So looking for something in game, but nothing pregame.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's been an issue, of course, defensively for this group right now. As far as the props go for this game, I do want to point out a couple of players here that are worth mentioning. Buchnevich, Schmaltz have been rolling for their respective teams of late, definitely producing, definitely making a noise offensively. Clayton Keller's been pretty consistent. Michelli now back in the lineup. Keep an eye on him. He might be a sleeper prop option here for the Arizona Coyotes moving forward. And Jacob Vrana looks like now he's in the lineup for the Blues. Remember, Detroit got rid of him. And Kasperi Kapanen for the Blues. Kasperi Kapanen, was getting another opportunity, what is this, his 5th chance now to play for a team. So at some point, he's got to show that he can stick somewhere. But here he scored in back-to-back games, 2 points against San Jose and L.A., so you got to like what you've seen here in a couple of games for Kasperi Kapanen with the St. Louis Blues. And yes, Vrana will join the Blues, and he did not play against LA on Saturday, but looks like he will make his Blues debut tonight for them in this game. So I always think when someone's making their debut with a team, they want to make an impact. They're going to be shooting the puck quite a bit. They're going to try to do everything in their power to make an impact in this game. So Jacob Vrana, plus 350 to score a goal. If you find shots on goal props, they might be worth a look as well going into this game. So there's not a bad prop game for a game that I think, could be a little loose defensively. And especially we've seen that from Arizona of late. And let's not forget, too, the Blues. They gave up 4 to LA, 3 to San Jose, 5 to Seattle. They've been giving up goals in bunches, too, of late. So definitely is a game where you could see props. Someone in our chat mentioning draw. The draw has cashed in 2 of the last 3 meetings between these 2 teams, including the last meeting, the most recent meeting in St. Louis, 6-5, Blues in overtime. Blues have gone to overtime in 2 of their last 5 games. Arizona's gone to overtime beyond regulation 4 of their last 10 games. So the draw's not the worst idea in the world here either with this game between St. Louis and Arizona. All right, final game of this Tuesday card. We've got the Anaheim Ducks and the Seattle Kraken. Seattle, minus 300 home favorites in this game, and the total 6.5 pretty much across the board. This game, look, it's a dangerous little spot for Seattle in the fact that there was such a good road trip. They ended it with a bang, taking down the mighty Colorado Avalanche, coming back from being down 2-1 in that hockey game and finding a way to win in overtime. Yanni Gourde with the game winner. Great call by Forsland. He nails those every single time, but it was a great win for the Seattle Kraken in Colorado the other night. But now they're minus 300 and they're back home where this team has been, very, very much inconsistent. They actually enter this game dead on 500 at Climate Pledge Arena, 15-15 in Seattle this year for this Kraken team. So they have just not played as well here on home ice. Let's not forget they just had a homestand before this 4-game road trip that they swept, and they lost to, well, they did lose to good teams to their defense, Toronto and Boston, but that's still a prolonged showing where they've had their issues at times here on home ice. So it's a tricky little spot. And Anaheim's, believe it or not, won 4 of their last 5 games. Now they're doing it with smoke and mirrors. There's no question. They're doing it with John Gibson finally playing up to his level that we know he can. And that's been a big part of them getting these wins. Because you look at the 4 of the 5 wins, the Washington win, they got outshot and outplayed badly, but they won. Gibson stole it. The Carolina game that they won 3-2 in Carolina, 53-15, they got outshot, badly outplayed. Gibson stole that one. They beat Chicago. That one, they actually had the better of the play. They deserved the win. They got outplayed and outchanced by Washington, but somehow, because of Gibson, that game goes to overtime, and they lose 3-2. And then, of course, they beat Montreal on Friday night by a score of 3-2. So, Ducks are winning games right now. And I do want to mention, though, it's not all been Gibson. They've gotten some, timely offense from McTavish, who stepped up lately for the Anaheim Ducks. Trevor Zegras is starting to heat up. Terry has been absolutely phenomenal. The guys you want are the guys they have been that have been contributing lately. So this might be one of those, a small flyer potentially on maybe a first period plus a half or even a money line shot with Anaheim, just because at the first period they could really catch Seattle napping. I really do think that's potential, but Seattle could get going as the game goes on, shake off the doldrums, shake off the jet lag, the long travel, the long trip, and get going and still come back and win this game. But that first period look on Anaheim's not the worst way to go here, that maybe they jump on Seattle early. And other than that, it's going to be mostly props. I'm back on the Jared McCann Express to score a point, to score a goal. He's been red hot for Seattle. Vince Dunn, he's been an automatic in terms of scoring points lately as well. Vince Dunn is on a 4-game assist streak, a 6-game point streak. McCann had the point streak snapped the other night against Colorado, but he's still, I think 7 of the last 8 games he scored a point. It's still worth a look to come back to that here tonight for the Seattle Kraken, no question about that. He's still been heavily trending that way. Yeah, points in 8 of the last 10 games for Jared McCann. Trevor Zegras, 7 of the last 10 games with a point. Cam Fowler from the blue line for Anaheim's points in the 7 of the last 10 games. So, but those point props in particular and Wenberg starting to heat up a little bit too for Seattle. Wenberg, McCann, Dunn, the usual players I've been mentioning now the last few games for Seattle with props are good looks, I think, for them tonight as well. What do you think here, Alex? Anaheim, Seattle.
Yeah, this is one. If I had to play something on it, it would be the over, but I'm more likely going to pass on this. Like I said, this is just a weird feel with these two teams. Anaheim's been rolling hot, but you just never know when all of a sudden they revert back and get blown out 5-0, 6-0. And Seattle's kind of the same way. I haven't had a good feel with Seattle games of late, so this is a clear pass for me. I'm glad we won't be going through the entire duration of the betcast with this one for sure.
That is confirmed. We will sign off on the betcast tonight after the conclusion of San Jose, Colorado, and St. Louis, Arizona. Those 2 games that start at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. Those will be the games. After those games, it's sayonara. Adios after that. Yeah, we will not be staying up for the end of Anaheim and Seattle tonight. I'm very tired today, by the way. It's not just that, but yeah, it's also a very late game. But yeah, we'll shut her down after the Colorado and the Arizona games end tonight. But yeah, the Gibson saves prop, Perlo Wisdom. I'm sure we might be seeing him on the betcast tonight. Perlo Wisdom, yeah. I mean, he faces a shit ton of rubber too. I mean, Arizona goalies and John Gibson in Anaheim, I mean, taking the over saves nightly moving forward with Arizona goaltending and Anaheim goaltending makes a lot of sense. They just give up a shit ton of shots every single night. Now, I do want to point out that Anaheim, the last game against Montreal, was a little bit better in that department, and Chicago for that matter. They only gave up 28 and 26 shots in those 2 games. But when they play good competition, and you got to consider Seattle good competition, they play Washington, they give up 39 shots. And Carolina, 53 shots. Washington, 43 shots. Tampa Bay, 44 shots. 55 shots to Florida. 40 shots to LA. 44 shots to Buffalo. 39 shots to Vegas. I mean, the pattern against the good teams is Anaheim gives up a ton of shots. So Gibson over saves. I would not talk you, Perlo, or anybody off taking that saves prop tonight. All right, good stuff. That is the Tuesday card. Hit the like button. 214 live viewers on YouTube. Check out patreon.com/Ice Guys. Just $10 a month. It is well worth your while to get in on and get in on that and join us on patreon.com/Ice Guys. Goalie charts, totals charts, power ratings, daily Ice Guys betting card, lots of bonus video content. We'll have more going up in the days and the weeks to come. So make sure you check it out. Patreon.com/Ice Guys. Sign up and subscribe for just $10 a month.
Yes. Also, make sure to check out the Ice Guys store. We got 6 days left, 20% off everything: t-shirts, caps, hoodies, things for the dog, things for the kids. We got everything in there. So check it out. 20% off for just 6 days. Get it now at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
Best bets coming up right after we hear from Manscaped. Support for the Ice Guys is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the promo code ICEGUYS. That's promo code ICEGUYS at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, it's about 14 million balls that you can preserve. The Performance Package 4.0 is the complete accessory package to take care of everything that is required. You've got, of course, the Lawnmower 4.0. Takes care of your facial hair and among other things. You've got, of course, the Weed Whacker. I'm approaching 40. Nose hair has become a major issue. It pisses the hell out of me. I need to take care of that shit, and the Weed Whacker can help you do that. Both of these products, waterproof and a 4000K LED spotlight for a more precise shave. And you'll also be able to take care of those delicate areas with the ball toner, with the ball deodorant, keep you smelling good, looking good, and feeling good down in the nether regions. This complete Performance Package 4.0 will take care of everything for you, for all you guys out there, and it's courtesy of our good friends at manscaped.com. So get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code ICEGUYS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. And use promo code ICEGUYS. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. All right, we are back, and it is time for best bets here for this Tuesday. Alex, we'll start with you. What do you like for best bet?
There's a lot I like. I guess it's a pretty big card tonight. I'm going with the Toronto Maple Leafs and the New Jersey Devils. Draw plus 340 is my best bet. This just screams like one of those classic games of where you got a Leafs team with going to be a next man up mentality, playing without, no O'Reilly and no Tavares. You got a New Jersey team always playing tough at home. This feels like it could be a 3-3 game after 60 minutes, getting plus 340. There's some great value here. Let's go with the Leafs and Devils draw as my best bet for this Tuesday night.
There you go. The draw here for the Leafs and Devils. Best bet here for Alex B. Smith for this Tuesday NHL card. My best bet here for this Tuesday slate is I'm going to throw a curveball at you. I'm going to go to that late game. I really like that spot. It's just it's telling me Anaheim is going to actually maybe just jump on Seattle early. And that's what I'm going to go with here. I'm going to go with that first period, Anaheim Ducks. I just got that feeling. I mean, to me, this is a tricky situation for Seattle. It was a great road trip. They have not responded well early in some of these home games after these successful road trips. Look at the one they had earlier this year, Tampa Bay. Now, Tampa Bay is a pretty good team, but at the time they were playing well. And they beat Seattle and jumped on Seattle in that game. I could see something similar here tonight for Anaheim, who don't look now, but they actually have put some wins on the board, some of them goalie influenced and goalie, saving their bacon. But nevertheless, they have won 4 of their last 5. We're going to go with it at plus 188, the best price out there. Anaheim, first period against Seattle for my best bet here for this Tuesday NHL card. All right, that'll wrap it up for this edition of the Ice Guys. We're back tonight for the live betcast, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Once again, DM me at Bobano on Twitter or email bobano350@gmail.com. And we will shoot you the link for the betcast tonight before it begins. Drinking encouraged, live betting, commentary, Alex, me, and all of our guests. So make sure you join us tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time for another live betcast. It'll be fun like it always is. All right, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, Download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Tuesday night, and we'll see you in a few hours at 7 p.m. Eastern for the Ice Guys Live Betcast presented by National Hockey Now.